Yes, folks, hello, welcome to the channel. It's Chris here from MoDXtra Games and Collectibles. A pleasure to have you with me here today. And with June swift approaching, just mere days away, my excitement for the potential of YoJoe June is amplifying beyond all expectations. And this is my second YoJoe June kind of excitement warm-up video. The first one was gathering all the facts, but this one, now I'm just getting wild and crazy. I'm going to share my wish list. What is it that I want to see at YoJoe June and beyond? So stick around, I'm going to give you 5 retros and 10 mainline figures that I'm eagerly anticipating from YoJoe June and the following convention season from GI Joe Classified. Let's get into it. Yo Joe! Okay then folks, a little note at the top of the video here, some small print if you will, because you're going to watch this video and you're going to say, well, that's all good and well, Chris, and you know, I like some of your choices, I dislike some of your choices, whatever, but all told, it's a pretty ambitious list. You did your wonderful video, your first YoJoe June excitement warm-up vid a couple of weeks ago. You shared what we knew and the stuff that was high probability, and to get some of this list of stuff that you're putting on the screen right now, in addition to what you've tipped the wink at in your first vid, just seems like too much. Maybe some of the retros, but come on, man. And you'd be right, of course, you'd be absolutely right, but do not forget, ladies and gents, that YoJoe June is the start of a convention season that's going to take us right the way up till Christmas. And if last year is anything to go by, we're going to be seeing name-only reveals, digital render reveals, in-hand reveals, pre-orders, all the way up till December. At least, you know, if they replicate the way they operated last year. We've got San Diego Comic-Con coming at the end of July. We've then got the Pulsecon, which historically takes place in September sometime. At least that's when 2023 took place. And there's going to be, inevitably, some GI Joe Classified series stuff there. And then we've got the New York Comic Con, which usually takes place, not usually, is taking place in October, the 17th to the 20th this year. And while it's not a big event, there's sometimes a panel that takes place, and there's 1 or 2 figures revealed, perhaps a PowerPoint presentation with a digital render or something gets snuck into the cabinet on the Hasbro stand. Then we've got 1027 taking place. That's usually in the last weekend of October. And that, of course, will have GI Joe Classified series stuff taking place at it. And that's not including any fan streams, any Hasbro Pulse fan streams that take place between now and the end of the year. And GI Joe Classified, if you remember, had one right on top of Christmas in December last year with some stuff that was shown off and some name-only reveals given. So yes, it is an ambitious list, and I am putting it out there as a YoJoe June excitement wish list, but actually, this is my wish list for the year. I'm just doing it now because I'm right on top of the convention season that I think is going to give us a big rush of classified activity for the back end, you know, for the last 6 months of the year. So ambitious list, yes, possible. Why not? So, with that said and done, let's get into the wish list, shall we? And I'm going to start with my retro wants, needs, desires for YoJoe June and beyond. And with the release of Duke and Scarlet this year, that's filled me with much more optimism for the retro line, because it shows, it demonstrates that the classified design team over at Hasbro are willing to do new sculpts, new versions of characters, not just kind of redecoed versions like they've done with retro in the past. So very excited for that. And it's opened up a world of possibility for me when it comes to the retro line. So let me share my list, and I'm going to start with Major Blood. I want to see the classic look, brown uniform, big chunky robot arm, old school looking Major Blood. Don't get me wrong, I think the mainline version that they released already is actually a banger. I really enjoy that figure, and it's possibly one of my personal favourites. And the modern reinterpretation of Major Blood is really, really sweet. But one of the things I love doing is kind of finding a little screenshot from an old cartoon or a panel in a comic book or a comic book cover and rebuilding that with my figures for my own man-child playtime entertainment. And so a classic look Major Blood would be perfect, would be ideal for me. I have a preference towards the more ready looking one that was more in line with the old Marvel UK Action Force comics that I used to read, but I just want a really kind of retro-looking, old-school 70s style, 80s style Major Blood with the jumpsuit and the big panel armor and the really old school kind of like Buck Rogers style robot arm. That would be ideal for me. I'd be so pleased to see that, and that would put me in a position where I'd be happy to break my rule and have a duplicate character in the collection. Next up, a G.I. Joe character, Wild Bill. I'd love to see a classic Wild Bill. I think this one might be a high possibility, actually, although whether it comes around this time or not might be a little bit too close, a bit too soon to the Wild Bill inclusion with the Dragonfly. So then, this probably is a more ambitious one that we won't see this year, but I'd really love to see a Wild Bill in the blue jumpsuit with the bright orange outfit, or even a Wild Bill in the the shirt and the neckerchief, the kind of Cavalier style Wild Bill, or is that maybe a bit too Confederate looking? Anyway, I think this is a high possibility. This would be a redeco of the Wild Bill version that they've got in with the Dragonfly, but as someone who's not gone in on the Dragonfly, I'm kind of excited about the possibility that there can be a redeco, a repaint version of Wild Bill that can exist for folks like me, and the retro card back subline would be ideal for that. Just get the blue jumpsuit, get the orange, I don't know, what is it, like an inflatable vest or something? I'm not sure what it is, but that would be ideal for me, and I don't think I'm alone with that. Another retro redesign of a character already existing kind of several times in the GI Joe Classified series line that I'd love to see on retro is the Cobra Trooper. I'd love to see a Sumbo cartoon style, with the tight top and the braces and the belt and the more classic helmet style with the mask over the face. Perhaps a two-pack, a male and a female, get a Layla style character in there as well. This would just be awesome, and again for folks like me who really thrive off the nostalgia of GI Joe Classified and who love, like I say, making dioramas and displays with kind of my favourite scenes from the comic books and from the cartoons, this would just be ideal. And, they've already got the gun sculpted, so they're part of the way there already. But yeah, I think classic Cobra Trooper would be highly desirable for a number of people in the retro card back line, and it's the perfect subline to put something like that out. I was filled with more hope for the next one on the list by the introduction of Duke to the retro card back line. It is, of course, Flint. I think many would agree, or not, let me know in the comments down below, but I certainly would love to see a Flint in the style of the Duke retro card backed figure, without the combat vest, with the plain shirt, and perhaps with the different ab crunch, the chest swivel in there, with his shirt on display, painted up in the more greeny brown kind of style of the classic cartoon and the classic comic books. Although I was looking back through some old Action Force, and he's got the black shirt in the old Action Force comics, so I'm less fussed about the paint app, but I want one without the combat vest in a much more classic style design. They can get away with reusing the beret and stuff, but a new face sculpt, perhaps that's a little bit more square-jawed like the Duke is, without the combat vest, would be ideal for me. I'd be so happy. And once again, that would make me reconsider whether I break my rule around having duplicate characters in my GI Joe Classified series collection. Whether I would, I would actually seriously consider, I was going to say whether I would keep both. I would seriously consider selling on the old Flint if a new one came out, for sure, because I'd be much happier having one with the shirt. Although the old version of the new one does kind of fit in better with the aesthetic of some other characters. I'll cross that bridge when I get to it, but I'd love to see a classic Flint without the combat vest and a new head sculpt that's a bit more square-jawed, all-American hero like the Duke was. Last but by no means least, in the retro card back wish list, I have Baroness, but the Baroness in the blue jumpsuit. I love the blue jumpsuit with the yellow trimmings, the big yellow belt and the yellow bits around the neck and the shoulders. The green specs look awesome, and I just have, fond memories of that jumpsuit. I don't think it appeared all that frequently. Perhaps someone who's a little bit more conversant with GI Joe would let me know. I certainly didn't see her in the blue jumpsuit in the Action Force comic books I used to read. I think she was in the blue jumpsuit in some DIC episodes, but I actually saw some really cool statues and stuff and some artwork that made me go, yeah, I like that blue jumpsuit. That's super cool. Now, we know there's been a new Baroness in the Crimson 3-pack. So I suspect there is a Baroness coming down the pipeline, whether it's a retro card back or a mainline one. I would suspect perhaps more like a mainline one, because the new sculpt with the better articulation is still adorned with lots of the trimmings of the kind of more traditional Baroness sort of femme fatale black jumpsuit type stuff. But I would love to see a redesigned version, a more simple but effective version in the blue jumpsuit style. I think it's really cool. Just those green retro shades, I love them, man. Absolutely love them. I'm all about the retro. Right, there's my retros. Now on to my mainline. Got 10 mainlines to express a wishlist desire for now, and I'm going to start with Mainframe. I think we're long overdue a Mainframe, don't you? I've actually got two versions of Mainframe on here. My interest in the character grew a lot more in the IDW continuity, which is the Mainframe right over at the far side there. Just an interesting character. I thought the kind of love triangle thing with Scarlet, Mainframe and Snake Eyes was interesting, and a little bit of a different pace. He still had all the main kind of trappings. You can see the design there, the grey pants, the white shirt, but he had just a little bit something else about him, which I thought was interesting. However, I would be perfectly happy with a more OG grey, white, black helmet look, and I think that would actually be the more likely version of a Mainframe there. Don't believe this has been name only announced, but perhaps someone will come out the woodwork. Inevitably with this list, someone's probably going to come out the woodwork and say, well, they did actually happen to mention that one. No, and you've missed it. Which is fine. I'll take a well actually on that one. But yeah, loads of cool equipment, like his radio gear and that. I think the picture I've grabbed there from the kind of cartoon model of it with the 80s version of a laptop and his big antennaed radio pack and stuff would just be a cool addition. That splash of grey and white would just be something else to the colour palette to add to the Joe side of the shelf. And of course, for a guy like me who wants to recreate his favourite classic scenes, I could get a bit of Zorana and Mainframe action going on the shelf as well, which could be fun to play around with, tastefully, of course. Tastefully. I saw you. I heard you. Yeah, I saw. Your head went right to the gutter there. No, tasteful. Tasteful. Get them both looking up at the stars. Listfully. Listfully? Would that be the right word? Listfully. I'm going to have to Google listfully now. No, folks, I just checked it. It's not listful at all. It's wistful is the right word. Get them both looking up at the sky wistfully, reflecting upon their experience together. So Mainframe, that's the first in the mainline that I'd like to see. Next on the list is one I've mentioned before. It's Crystal Ball. And again, I'll take either style. My love of Crystal Ball, again, came from my reignited interest in GI Joe when the IDW continuity was knocking around, and I love that design with the long hair and the beard and the sheepskin coat and the clawed fingers and stuff. There's a great miniseries around that time which was called like a Cthulhu thing, Infestation maybe. Just a cool, super cool character, love him. But I'd also take a classic design as well, the goofy one with the little hypnotic shield thing that he had. That would be cool as well. So yeah, Crystal Ball, I just love these more idiosyncratic, wackier characters, either style of a design or some amalgamation of the two, which the GI Joe Classified series design team are pretty good at doing. Would scratch the itch for me, I reckon. I'm confident they would do a good job on that, kind of amalgamating those kind of two spaces that I'm into with the character. But he's got a great lore, he'd be great for storytelling, he's got an interesting look, and when my hair's a bit longer, actually, I kind of have a bit of a Crystal Ball vibe going on. That's not something to be proud of. Okay, moving on then. G.I. Joe the movie is my inspiration for this one. Law and Order. We've got a Tunnel Rat now. We've got a Falcon now. Jinx is on the way. We've got a Chuckles. The G.I. Joe recruit lineup. The Rooks. is growing, and Law and Order was, of course, a key character within that. Would love to get my beachhead out and get some nice GI Joe the movie scenes going on. We need a big lob too, but he's not on the list today. I also enjoy the work that they do with the animal characters. The dogs and the wolves are great in GI Joe Classified. I've got a McFarlane bloody, I don't know what that is, Wolverine here in my hand, and it's crap. Don't move, don't do nothing. Boring. But GI Joe Classified series have got their animals right. So I just think a good Law and Order. And again, like with other selections I've made here, I've got a nostalgic connection to the characters I've just described in terms of GI Joe the movie, but also I think it would just be a nice addition to the colour palette, to the character style. It'd be great to get Law and Order kind of paired up with the likes of Shockwave. It's a little bit of a niche kind of subsection in the GI Joe display shelf vibe, which I think would be nice to play around with, and I just think they're cool characters, you know. So not only could I get some beachhead drill sergeant scenes on the go, but also I think he'd just be a good addition to the line. All right, circling back round then to kind of wacky, idiosyncratic characters that I'd love to see, just because I think they're balmy and interesting. Cesspool. I think Cobra needs a cesspool. I just think this guy is just really wacky and out there. Again, I'll reiterate, I'm not as familiar with the DIC cartoons as I am with the Sunbow ones, and certainly not as familiar with those as I am with the Action Force comic books. But I'm aware of this guy. I remember seeing the figure on the shelf back in the day and just thinking, that is just really out there and insane, and I love it. I think the green uniform is just, again, another flavour, another piece of colour, splash of colour to add to the colour palette, and I think Cobra's coming together really well with the way the colour schemes work in there. I think he would add interesting accessories, some new weapon sculpts. He can just look really balmy. The face sculpt has a lot of opportunity with the scar down over his eye. I just think there's a lot of potential to make a really great figure with this guy, with really great accessories that you can do awesome storytelling with. And you know, we've had Metalhead now, we've had Norgahide, so the DIC stuff is getting more acknowledgement in the line, so why not carry on and give us a cesspool? The next couple now, the next three in fact, are all about my desire to see more female figures in the line. I really need to break up some of the kind of sausage fest situation that I've got going on sometimes when I change up my displays, and I just feel like he's a bit too male sometimes. And these are great characters, ones that I have a fondness for. And the first on the list, let's get down to it, is Dawn Morena, the female Snake Eyes. Obviously a very big part of the IDW continuation of A Real American Hero. She's reappeared with some significant presence in the reboot through Skybound, so it would be a timely release. Is an interesting character. I think there's an opportunity to use some sculpt reuse, but not too egregiously that it would be wild. But I think they could deck her out with some swords and some pistols and stuff. I just think she's an interesting looking character and would be a great popular choice to add to the line to break up the masculine vibe and get some of these more badass female characters in the mix. And who's more badass than Dawn Morena, you know? She's a significant character, and also it'd be great to get her paired up with the likes of Helix and such like in that the IDW continuation of A Real American Hero style stuff. And if we're going to have more ladies for GI Joe, we need more ladies for Cobra. And next on my list is Munitia. Munitia? I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Interesting character. I came across Munitia. So as I mentioned before, my interest in GI Joe was reignited when the IDW continuity came along. Missed the Devil's Due stuff, which is where Munitia featured more prominently in a few story arcs there. But I happened across the character when I was just going back and looking over some old 3D Joe and Yo-Joe and checking out some websites, looking at some GI Joe figures. And I think it was the Collectors Club or the 25th anniversary range. I forget specifically. Someone let me know in the comments down below who was around then. That I saw the figure, and I just thought it was a cool looking figure. I love the visor on her, and she had these two pistols with blades on them that just looked like really mean and badass and horrific. As you would expect from like a Cobra assassin. Anyway, I went back and reread some issues that she featured in. She's a member of a group called The Plague. I like that all black gear. that she's in. Obviously, an opportunity to get some reuse done there with Baroness in an interesting way, perhaps below the belt, because I think the picture I've put on screen right now, I think, because I'm adding it in afterwards, has got like some thigh pads that are very similar to the top half of Baroness's boots. I'm not sure, and then like a ribbed jumper. Hopefully, I am going to have to use that picture now when I finish up my thing. But in any case, I just think a cool, badass female character to get into the Cobra side of the shelf is much needed, especially because I've skipped a couple that are just characters I'm not keen on. And MoDXtra fits the bill for me. I think she just looks cool, badass, and I kind of like it when a more obscure character comes about because, you know, as I've done with this one, you then go away and investigate, and it gives you a whole new kind of area and space to take a look at in the GI Joe kind of lore. So, MoDXtra. And another female character I'd love to see on the GI Joe side of the display shelf is Bomb Strike. Love this character, love the design with the flat jacket with the GI Joe logo across the front. Often seen carrying a bazooka. She appeared quite prominently in the Silent Option miniseries that I read not too long back to get more familiar with Helix, and thought she was badass, but I remember her also kind of fondly. She had some cool artwork in the GI Joe trading card game. Remember that? I don't even have it anymore. But in any case, just an interesting female character that I think would add a little something to the G.I. Joe side of the shelf. I think she'd be a better fit, really, than the likes of Shooter in the kind of tone and flavour of what's going on the female side of the shelf. And, of course, with Helix, and if we get Adore Morena as well, you could reenact the Silent Option miniseries too, so that would be cool. But yeah, I like the idea of a bazooka wielding female character with a big flash of blonde hair, maybe a head swap opportunity for your cover girl. I don't know, yeah, I just really want to see some more ladies, man. You know what I mean? I really want to see the male-centric focus broken up even more than it already is. And I think Bomb Strike would make a great addition. I just like that vest, that brown-coloured vest on top of the combat pants with the G.I. Joe logo across the front. I think that would be really cool. All right, jumping back over to Cobra there, next on the list we have Monkey Wrench. The Dreadnoks are coming along strong. We've got the kind of core... I suppose what you'd argue is the main kind of real core team of the Dreadnoks now. We can start straying into some of the more ancillary Dreadnoks. Well, we kind of already are if you count Norgahide, but like the likes of Zanzibar and Thrasher and such like, I think will come in vehicle sets. But I'd love to see a Monkey Wrench figure with his kind of three-pronged stabby thing. He's a good Welsh lad as well. Getting one of the UK characters out in the line, building up the UK presence in the collection. And, we've seen what they've done with Torch. We've seen what they've done with Ripper and the cut-off leather coat vest thing that he has would look cool. Lots of opportunities for some funky sculpting in there. Interesting weapon choice. I just think he would be, I'm a Dreadnought fan. I don't know what to tell you. I like the biker dudes, and I think they'd be a good fit for the line. So Monkey Wrench, yeah, let's keep filling out the ranks of the Dreadnoks, get more of these cool wacky geezers in the mix. Also, fellow hippie bearded guy. Maybe I've just got an affinity for the hippie bearded guys, like Crystal Ball and Monkey Wrench. Again, that's not really something to be proud of, is it? Jumping back over to the Joes now, folks, it's time we saw Lifeline in the main line. Lifeline, obviously a character that people remember fondly. I have fond memories of him from a particular Action Force storyline that I just read and reread over and over again, which was all about his pacifism and how he wouldn't carry a weapon, but he kind of judo, kung fu'd the evil pirate lady, I think. Maybe I should go back and reread it. That's kind of what my memory tells me is the situation. But that big, bright flash of red. Again, cool accessories with his medical backpack. And he used to carry the case with rescue written on the side, which I think is really cool. Yeah, just get some more bright colours going on the GI Joe side, you know what I mean? And just give us something really bright and striking. The sunglasses, the visors, lots of opportunity for some storytelling gear that can open up the world of possibility when it comes to posing and displaying and photographing the character. Very popular. He was a PSA character as well from the Sunbow cartoon, and appeared prominently in a number of the comic books. So let's get Lifeline in. Doc's here. He's going to need someone to help out. You know what I mean? There's you know, if I'm getting more dreadnoughts, then the wounds are going to be more and more, increasingly more creative and horrible, especially when Nemesis Immortal arrives. So let's get some more medics in the mix, you know what I mean? And finally, in my wish list, I have Crake. Again, this one is driven from my love of the IDW continuity, and Crake featured very prominently in that storyline. I've put both images, I think, on the slide there of the kind of the Crake before his promotion, and then Crake when he became the new Cobra Commander through that storyline. Ooh, should I spoiler alerted that? Maybe I should have done. Spoiler alert, folks. Crake gets promoted to Cobra Commander. I think they're both cool looks, although I'd probably have a preference to the main Crake, assassin soldier dude with that really cool helmet and the traditional sort of blue and red colour scheme combo. Really nasty piece of work. He was an interesting character to read, and the fact that it was him who went through, you know, the unexpected winner of the Cobra War contest to become Cobra Commander. And that would also be a great looking figure. He's got a Cobra Commander style visored helmet with a big shiny piece of all over body armor that were just like really epic with a red cape. However, I'm easy. I'll take either. The more traditional kind of infantry style. Would it be infantry style? I don't know. I always misuse these words, but the more traditional kind of subordinate version of Crake would be great, just because I love that helmet design. And it was just a mean, nasty piece of work, and interesting to read, and just one of the contributing factors to the IDW continuity having a bit more edge to it, and being a little bit more aimed at the you know, kind of the adult fan of GI Joe there, and so he'd be a good fit for me in that respect too. And there we go, folks. That concludes my wish list, my Yojo June and beyond wish list. I think we've got a big convention season coming up, and it's my sincerest hope that we see some of these characters from my wish list turning up, even if it's just name-only reveals, and the chance of getting them in 2025, I'll be happy with that. But these are ones that resonate with me, I'm interested in, or will deliver a certain something that I feel like I need in the GI Joe Classified series line, like more females, for example, or more kind of finishing off of particular threads that they're growing within the context of the figures against the nostalgic stuff that is what's got me interested in the line. However, it's not an exhaustive list, is it? There is a bucket ton, untold list of characters yet to be seen, and there's many more that probably have more right to be on the list than I've given them credit for. So please do head to the comments down below. Let me know what your fingers are crossed for, what you're, you know, lying in bed at night, dreaming about, hoping about, that when the Yojo dreams start, they'll top it off with a quick name-only reveal, folks, and boom, there it is, your favourite character that you really want to see in Classified. And let me know why. What, is it because you love a comic book story art that they're in? Is it because you love their appearance in the cartoon? Is it aesthetic? You think they look cool? I don't know, I need that stuff too. Don't just name names. Give me the details, folks. I'm really interested to know. But that wraps up my Yojo June GI Joe Classified series wish list. I hope you've enjoyed watching the video. All the usual YouTube malarkey. Thumbs up, blah, blah, blah. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. No. At the end. But it's been an absolute pleasure to have you with me here. I hope you'll swing back round for some more videos in the future. And all that's left to say is that I hope you have a great rest of your day. All right, see you later, folks. Yojo June, it's on his way. Yojo!